Hi, this is Julie with Beadaholique, and in this video I want to introduce you to Elegant Elements Beadslide Clasps. So I have one right here I want to show you what it looks like, and then I'm going to show you how to attach it to some loom work, but you could also use it for bead weaving or some other types of stringing techniques. So if you look at this clasp, you see that you've got two open channels with an actual cut through them, and that's what you're going to slide over your beadwork. And if you want to open this clasp, there's a little tab right here. You just push it down and you slide it. So this is a really lovely clasp. It's very well made. It's German made. And again, it's by Elegant Elements. And if you know that name, you know they produce really nice, high quality, professional looking jewelry components. So there are a couple different styles. I've left them in their packaging here. So you see this real pretty swirl design here, and you got nice smooth ones. I particularly love this one. Hopefully you can see that as well. And you will notice that they do come in different sizes. All of the sizes are 10 millimeters across. The smallest one is 18 by 10 millimeters, followed by 24 by 10 millimeters, and finally 29. Now I do want to quickly show you something else that you might already be familiar with at Beadaholique, is we do have these little slider clasps for loom work or bead weaving as well, and these are by Beadalon, and I pulled a couple of them just so that you could know that we do have this option as well. But now we've introduced this one, which is a really lovely component as well, and it feels great in your hand. It's got really nice weight to it, just very smooth, very polished looking. So here's my beadwork. It is a loom pattern, and it is 14 Toho size 11/0 beads wide. And that is what's going to fit in this medium-sized bead slide clasp when you do loom work. Now I've tied it off already, and if you want to know how to get to this stage here where I've got all those knots and they've actually had a little bit of glue added to them, please do watch our other video, how to finish off traditional loom work and add a slider clasp. And this is the clasp it's going to show you how to add, and that's why I wanted to bring it into this video, but it's going to be the same technique for this clasp as well. So to begin, you're going to trim your tails. And you want to trim pretty close to the knot. So we got that trimmed. And you will notice that that extra thread does add some extra width to what's going to slide in this clasp. And so that's what you're going to want to take into consideration. You're going to want to be using beads that are probably about 1 millimeter or so across, not too much more than that. You have an interior space here of about 3 millimeters, but do allow room for your knots if you're doing loom work. If you're not doing loom work, you can definitely use a bead up to 3 millimeters. So that's just a little design tip there for you. I'm going to trim this side too because I'm going to show you how to do both sides, even though it is the same exact technique. I'll just show it to you twice. Okay. So essentially what we're going to do is just slide this over our end row of loom work. I'm going to separate out my clasp. Now really do make sure that you have this oriented properly. So essentially this is going to go like this. We want this one here. And this one here. Okay. Now I like to take one of the tabs and pre-close it. To close it, I'm just going to take it against my table and use a little bit of pressure and close it shut. And that's going to keep your beadwork from sliding out. I also like to add a little bit of glue to that interior well. This is an E6000 glue. And I've just got a toothpick right here. I'm just going to carefully put just a dab in here. You don't need much because you're going to have these little tabs on the end to close it as well. Now you're going to position it so that it slides right over your end row of beads as well as your knots. You see how it's just going between that second to last row and the very last row. And we're just sliding it over. And on the last one, if you want, you can use a toothpick or a tweezer or something to just kind of help it get down in there. And then also pull from this side too. So it's really a nice fit. You're going to want to make sure any loose threads are tucked down inside. And then you can close this tab. Now I brought over a pair of chain knots because you can close it with a pair of chain knots. And just close it shut. And there we have one side attached. And you look how nice and clean and professional that looks. Now we're going to go to the other side. And I am always one of those, what is the expression? Measure twice, cut once. I am definitely a measure twice, cut once gal. And so we're going to do the exact same thing here. So I want to end up closing this tab first. Again, just a little bit of pressure. Insert a little bit of glue. And now we're going to do the exact same thing over on this side. Now I am using Tohos. You could have done this with Delicas as well. It's not so much about the type of bead as the size of the bead. And also remember your knots. So if you have, like I said, if you're doing like bead weaving where you might not have all these loom knots at the end, then you can use definitely a bigger bead as well. But it does make a really nice clean look. I'm gonna make sure that knot is down in there. And now again, we're just gonna close this tab. And I like the pressure method. It's so easy to just push it on your table. So there we go, we have our finished piece of jewelry. And that is what it looks like on there. And I think it is a really nice, complete look. Looks very streamlined, very professional. And again, these are the Elegant Elements Beadslide clasps, and they are available at Beadaholique.com.